Hi, moms and daughters. Welcome to another episode of Dear Mom, Dear Daughter. We're so excited to have you back. And today we're having a super interesting conversation. And I want all my TikTok girlies, my chronically online babes, to come through. I think this one is for us. But I also think it's for a lot of moms out there and anyone out there who really wants to get a good grasp on mental health, right? We're going to speak about that one quite broadly. I think it's a topic that has kind of turned into a bit of a tag word in the past 5 years. It quickly jumped from it being this sort of vague topic that we're really scared to touch and talk about, that we'd move around. And quickly it's like a tag word where there's like mental health awareness month and mental health awareness this and what. And we all are sort of turning into our own personal psychologists online, right? But also I fear that as we're also getting more aware and using all these psych terms and mental health terms, the depth of it can sometimes be lost, right?
Absolutely. So I've noted also, with mixed feelings, that there is a lot of awareness and a lot of insight into psychological disorders or mental health challenges.
Yeah.
And just, awareness around mental health in general and mental well-being. So that's really encouraging and it's wonderful.
It is,
because it speaks to, removing stigma
yes,
around mental health, because it's been stigmatized quite a bit historically and very much misunderstood. So mixed feelings. On the one side, that's very encouraging. It's positive. It's a positive aspect in our society. However, there's also a danger to labeling people with diagnoses that is incorrect, especially. So I think what I'm seeing is that there's more of an inclination to label and less of an inclination to seek to understand the person and seek to connect and relate better. And that's what I worry about.
That is a good point you mentioned. I think it's something that had come up when you and I were having our sort of DMCs or debriefs or whatever about the world. And I think I was telling you a story and I used the word like gaslighting. And it's a word that, especially in the past couple of years, like in TV, it's there, like on social media, it's there. The like TikTok psychologists were talking about gaslighting, everything, and it's now turned into just a word that's just part of our vocabulary. I didn't know that this was an actual psych term until you said it. Right? It is?
It is actually a psychological term, mostly linked to narcissistic personality disorder.
Which is another one.
That is another one. I've seen everyone is labeled a narcissist. Oh, you're a narcissist. Oh, you're a narcissist. She's a narcissist. So, narcissistic personality disorder is an actual psychological disorder. Real people struggle with this, and it stems a lot from trauma in childhood.
Wow.
So it is as serious or as needing our attention and empathy as depression would be, for example. So it's not something to, if really someone does have narcissistic personality disorder, it's not something that would cause us to throw the person away.
Child. Every time me and my girls are in our group chat and the man is doing this, he's manipulative, he plays all these mind tricks, he thinks he's everything in the world. I'm like, oh girl, he's a narcissist. Cut that man off.
And why is it always the men?
Because men, they tend to have narcissistic behavior in our opinion, okay?
I love what you've just said.
Yeah.
Narcissistic behavior.
Okay.
So it's okay for us to term the behavior and to term the traits, but not to now label the entire person as a narcissist. That is the danger. And look, most of us have narcissistic traits, right? And some of them can be protective because what are narcissistic traits? One, it's a grandiose sense of self, right? Where although in a real narcissist, it's all a facade, it's actually fake. But that power, that grandiosity about a person, that sense of entitlement, fighting for themselves, we all have it, and sometimes it can be protective. But what differentiates narcissistic traits or narcissistic behavior from actual clinical narcissistic personality disorder is the pervasive pattern of some of those traits. So, for example, if your boyfriend or whatever guy, like in the example that you've just shared, if he showed narcissistic behavior only to you, he is not a narcissist. Right?
Ooh.
So that is more likely to
That's a spicy take.
Yes.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, you want to take that
Go back. If he only shows that narcissistic behavior to you.
Yes.
Okay.
He is very likely
not
a narcissist.
He just hates you.
Why do I say
I
this?
told you, girl.
Not necessarily just hates you. It might just be the dynamic that the two of you have. So relationships are dynamic. You may elicit certain feelings and certain behaviors from me, and vice versa, that the next person might not.
Right. You might just not be good for each other in that way.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this speaks even to parent-child relationships. And this is why sometimes a parent is perceived to have a favorite. It's not necessarily a favorite. It's because Mtawelanga, you are your own person. Lomelelo is his own person, and so on. And Kosechuko is his own person. So all my 3 children are individuals, and we relate differently. So because you are different, you elicit a certain type of behavior with me, and vice versa. So that's what dynamic means. It's an interchange of thoughts, feelings, how you influence me, how we call it transference in psychology.
Yeah.
So it's very unique person to person. So that's why you may find a parent relating better with one particular child
than another. Yeah.
So even in friendships, even in romantic relationships, you may have a romantic partner where you guys literally just rub each other the wrong way.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean neither of you are
problematic people
or problematic as human beings.
Yeah.
It just means the dynamic between you is either difficult or it just doesn't work, So that's the danger of labeling people. Now, back to the difference, right?
Yes.
So narcissistic behavior and traits may be there. However, if there's a pervasive pattern of these traits across the person's lifespan, and it would need to really begin in childhood, ideally, for us to really put that diagnosis on the person. But pervasive pattern across different types of settings as well.
And relations.
And different types of relations. So in the workplace, does it behave similarly? Family, friendships, etc. Towards their work also. Is there grandiosity? Can they not work in a team? And so on. So you really have to look at it across the lifespan and across different settings as well. And there needs to be a very clear and pervasive pattern across the board. So if it's one relationship there or here, no.
It's you're just, this relationship that you have between you is probably not what's working. Which I imagine in a romantic relationship where you're butting heads and you're noticing these bad, like horrible traits that are coming out of yourself and also this person that you're in a relationship with. It's difficult, but also you kind of have the ability to walk away from that. With a parent-child relationship, though, I imagine that's really difficult if you are a daughter that's really struggling to relate to your parents, right? And often I think we jump to quickly label these relationships as toxic, it's just a toxic relationship and that's that, and it's hard to sort of move forward. What do we do, You know, when we find ourselves in that position, it's like, how on earth are you going to navigate a difficult relationship with a parent? Because it's just the way that it is. Because whatever dynamic you have between you two is not it. It might feel toxic to you.
I think what we definitely do need to do is look at ourselves. And really, that's all we can do, right? The only behavior that you can control is your own. Right? You cannot control another person's behavior, not even your child's behavior, not even your spouse, not even your boyfriend, not anybody. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have to look inward. So what are you bringing into this relationship? So we spoke about a dynamic, right? So if you're not happy about something in this particular relationship, start with looking at yourself. Because we're very quick to identify and externalize the entire experience of this relationship. So if it's toxic and it's difficult, this person is a narcissist, we externalize all those feelings that I feel this, I feel he makes me so anxious, he makes me angry, he makes me this, he makes me that. So where do we begin? Look inward. Yes, you feel all of these things around them and engaging with them, but to backtrack a bit and look at what your inputs were. What did you say? What did you do? What did you not do? Or what did you not say even? So if there was something that you were unhappy with and this person gaslit you, how did you communicate it? How did you present it? Because if you are going to be attacking in your communication, the person will naturally be defensive in their communication and attack back. So look inward, look at how you are communicating, right? First of all. I think we spoke about this in previous episodes where you stick to your own feelings.
Start that sentence with I feel
anxious when you say this particular word to me, when you do this type of thing, you do this type of thing. And you can describe that feeling of anxiety, because also sometimes if you keep reporting the same thing to someone, that I feel anxious, they'll start to dismiss you because they don't really understand
why, how.
You know, they'll be like, oh, I miss anxiety.
Yeah. Right.
So ensure that you find ways to communicate effectively and really describe where this anxiety is coming from you. And even if you yourself are not sure yet, you can put it tentatively that I think it may be because, and what this feels like, and you can describe it in physical terms. Like my heart literally pumps faster. I start to feel my hands sweaty, my underarms sweaty. I become a bit dizzy, hazy, because that's how disturbed I feel. So you can also
put them in your shoes, in your perspective.
Yeah, so they can really understand your experience. Or if I'm at work or my studies, I'm unable to concentrate, all because I feel this feeling of anxiety because you said this one word to me, or because you didn't return my 3 calls. Or so they can really understand your experience, and then from there they can be able to connect.
That's really useful because I think we often put ourselves in a frenzy. I think communication is going to be probably the biggest thing that will come out of this podcast. The biggest thing we'll reiterate, because at the root of all these issues, like just talking about it is a really big thing. I want to break down some more of these psychology terms that we often use in pop culture. And kind of compare like sort of how you view them with your psychological insight, right? So gaslighting we've covered. There's also bipolar. I always thought bipolar was someone who has like mood swings.
Well, that's a simplistic way
to put it.
So, and here's the thing about psychology, right? A lot of psychological disorders and terms can actually be normal. For example, anxiety, low mood, which, you know, at its extreme is depression, and also bipolar, like if you said mood swings. That is the general presentation of bipolar. with huge extremities, of course. But people can have mood swings, and it's perfectly normal. Now, what makes it clinical or pathological is that it disrupts a whole lot of your functioning. So it's clinically indicated when it is one goes on for an extended period of time, and it disrupts your occupational functioning. So if you're at work or you're at school, it disrupts that. Socially, your relationships, and just personally, maybe you take care of yourself less, things like self-care. Some people don't bath, some people, so when it really affects your functioning, that is when it is clinically indicated and it's now a psychological disorder. But a lot of the time, the symptoms can be normal behavior. In fact, as psychologists, you always have to weigh up and look very closely at what is normal behavior and what is pathological.
And I want to talk about that distinction, especially with anxiety, right? Because that is an experience that all humans will kind of feel and have normally, right? I remember you said in a previous episode, and it still like jars me till now, when you said that nobody can give you anxiety. Which is funny because that's the way we speak about it often is I just can't do it, this assignment. It's giving me anxiety. My lecturer stresses me out. Like my mom is being so annoying. She's just giving me anxiety, But you're like, nobody can give you anxiety, right? Can you help break down like that pop culture use of the word and how we understand it versus when it's now clinical?
So you feel anxious. Right?
Yeah.
And that's true for both clinical and normal. But the difference is in how it affects you, how it impairs your functioning. So again, your feelings are valid, but don't externalize them. They don't belong to the next person. They don't belong to your lecturer, to your mother, all the people you just listed. They are yours and they belong to you exclusively, right? So the anxiety you feel is yours and yours alone. Okay,
yeah.
Yours to feel, yours to sit in, yours to figure out, and yours to manage, right? And it's up to you how you manage it. If you identify that the anxiety you feel is directly related to one particular person or one particular behavior, wonderful. So how do you manage that? You put a boundary there, right? So you still have to manage it. You still have to resolve it. It's not anybody else that's going to do it for you. So I think, like you said earlier, if there's one thing we're going to learn altogether on this podcast, it is to be able to identify your feelings, sit in them, and manage them, right? That is what we're going, and be able to communicate them.
Be able to communicate them.
Yeah. If we can do that, and if we can do that as a community that we're growing here on this podcast, I think we would have done a job well done on this podcast. Because really, it's the beginning and end of a lot of things.
So with anxiety and a lot of these disorders, I want to bring this back to the beginning of the podcast. Is the beginning of the episode rather. We said that at least there's a lot of awareness around mental health, and we're able to label a lot of these behaviors and the disorders. We kind of know like the keywords like narcissist and bipolar and depression and anxiety. We can sort of point them out, what they might look like. But I think what we're often missing is the depth, the what then. So you spoke about how important it is for us to be able to first take accountability for our own feelings, and also while we can point out at other people the behaviors that are maybe problematic, it's quite challenging to be able to look inwards as well, right? And like challenge your own behaviors and how that might be triggering someone else.
It is challenging, and why that is because you're not actively perceiving yourself. I mean, even now I can see you and everything you're doing, but I can't see myself. I can see your facial movements, I can see your body language, I can't see myself. So we're very much aware of the next person because there's that visual stimuli all the time. That's feedback, but not our own. So it takes a lot of intentionality to actually look at yourself. So what I would encourage people is grab a pen and paper. We love pen and paper here at Dear Mom, Dear Daughter. Grab a pen and paper if you struggle with, perceiving yourself, and start jotting things down. You can start with one particular relationship that you've identified as particularly difficult, or a person you've identified as particularly difficult, and start jotting down. You can break it down in scenarios, maybe things you remember where you were so upset with this person. What did you say? What was the exchange? How did you communicate? Who started the conversation? And so on. So start looking at it in small little chunks like that, and start to pay attention to your own behavior. I think we can do that.
I like that. It's nice. It's simple. Well, not easy, but something that's bite-sizable. I'm actually going to try that out as well. I want to see something. I want to see what's gonna come up, right? But you're right, yeah. To point that mirror at yourself as well, just to see where you're at, and I think it might help alleviate some of the issues and the pressure that you might find when you're in these relationships with other people.
Absolutely. And you'll find it will also have a protective factor as well, because the more insight you have, the more empowered you have in anything generally in life, and very true also in relationships. So the more, and also within yourself, the more insightful and aware you are of your own behavior, how you move in certain situations, certain relationships, etc., the more you'll be able to manage that, and it will immediately feel better. So when it happens, you're not caught in the spiral of emotion and feeling and behavior,
Yeah.
So when it happens, you'll see, okay, here's that defensiveness from this person. What did I say? Is it me? No, I don't think it's me. It's theirs. And bam, you put the gate there, your boundary. It's not my stuff, it's their stuff. What do? I backtrack. Maybe we can discuss this later. I can approach it differently at a different time. So you really manage yourself much better, and it brings you better peace and calm.
Right? Yeah, I like this. I think if we really try and tackle this and look at ourselves, we'll have a lot more self-aware kings and queens out there. We're able to handle conflict a lot better. I feel like it's hard work, but useful work. And I think if we don't look at ourselves, it's a quick way to ruin a relationship that didn't need to go badly, right? It's very interesting. Yeah. So you spoke a little bit on boundaries over there. And I think with this conversation, it's also really important to acknowledge that while we like to, throw out all these psychological terms, these are real mental health challenges that people really do face and have to deal with on a day-to-day. So say you are in relationships, or you are, whether this is a friendship or it's your mom or it's your daughter or your son or your brother or whatnot, what are the things that we need to know and remind ourselves of to better approach and better support our friends and our close ones who are dealing with mental health illnesses and challenges in their lives?
Well, like I said, people who struggle with mental health challenges are there. It's very real, and we don't throw them away. We don't throw them away when they're struggling with generalized anxiety disorder. We don't throw them away when they're struggling with depressive disorder, depression. We don't throw them away when they're struggling with narcissistic personality disorder. Okay. So what do? We support. Depending on the proximity of your relationship, you can absolutely, the boundary can be that I'm not able to deal with this person in any way, and you let go of that relationship. That's also perfectly fine. But I do see that there is a culture of throwing people away, especially with your generation, Gen Z people. Hey.
Yeah, I think with my generation, we hopped onto this word of like boundaries. We're learning very quickly, you know, how to set boundaries, how to say no. And if there's something that we can see in someone or in some relationship that we don't like, generally we'll be like, okay, cut them off, girl. You don't need that energy, you know, walk away from it, choose peace and whatnot. But there's also the extreme side of it where we now don't give our relationships enough of a chance or enough effort, you know. We're quick to be like, yay,
And you actually then become the toxic one by throwing someone who really does need you.
Need support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So we do need to balance that. And really, boundaries is not about throwing people away or cancel culture. Boundaries are actually to help relationships, right? They are protective. That's what they're meant to do. So what you can do is hold both. You can still hold empathy and still hold the boundary, depending on what you personally can give, right, at that particular season or time to that person and the proximity of the person. If it's your parent, it's a relationship worth working on.
Absolutely.
If it's, you know, a close friend, it's a relationship worth working on. So first, assign value to the relationship. If it's a sibling, you know, it's a relationship worth working on. So assign value to the relationship first, right? And then how much can you give? And then you manage that. So you can hold both empathy and support and the boundary as well, depending on where you are also in your life. So how do we support people? Maybe if we can talk a bit about practical stuff to do.
Yeah, what do we do?
Right?
Yeah.
So one, definitely get educated on what the person is struggling with, right? So let's say they've disclosed this to you, or maybe you're even encouraging them to get psychological help. Educate yourself. What are these symptoms or traits that I'm seeing? You know, who can I speak to help this person? How do I phrase this to this person in a way that can be received well, you know, and my well intentions can be received. So do that, and also maintain strong boundaries. So whenever you're helping, you really have to make sure that you're not depleting yourself. Otherwise, you really aren't helping the person. You're just both going down a rabbit hole. So give what you can give, and what you can't, and that's okay. Accept that, make peace with that. And also look for other support structures for that person. And if they are, let's say, maybe in therapy, check up on them, make sure they're attending their sessions. If they're on medication, are they taking their medication? Do they need any support with that? Because the experience of someone dealing with a psychological disorder is quite taxing, and sometimes they can just stop medication, stop therapy, whether they are deluded or maybe they're just really overwhelmed and just exhausted with it all.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes it will take people around them to be encouraging, to be supportive. You know, sometimes you know you need to take a tablet, but you don't until someone says, have you taken your tablets today?
Right.
And that immediately does something to your brain to say,
I should do this.
I should do this.
Yeah.
And it gives you energy, motivation to actually do it. Not that you had forgotten, it was on your mind, but just that care from somebody else motivates you to do it. You know, it gives you the strength to go on. So just doing that as well is also a form of very good support.
That's incredible. Yeah. I think also information is very important, and access to information, especially from the perspective of someone who's maybe never had to have these conversations around mental health until it's now something they really are forced to face when it's someone close to them. Where do we go? What are some of the reliable resources? I mean, I guess you can Google, you can go check out TikTok and social media, and there's so much information to the point where it can be quite overwhelming. What are some reliable sources that people can go and look at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The internet is really a good source when you're unsure and you're just looking for information. Then once things get confusing or maybe start aligning and you're like, okay, there may be something here, then it's a good idea to speak to a professional. So go to your local clinic and speak to a professional there. Or you can get in touch with a psychologist, a social worker, a registered counselor, and or your GP. If you've got access, and really discuss that and get help. And I think also, just managing information and with the experience of the person, right? So you really need to be gentle with the person, because psychological disorders may not always look exactly how they are classified. Right? The experience may be different person to person. So really, I highlight empathy towards the person. I know it can be sometimes difficult dealing with someone with a mental health disorder. So also consider having support for yourself as a family member or as someone close to someone having a psychological disorder. Also be in your own, therapeutic space, whether it is a support group, which your local clinic or people around your area can get you in touch with. We also have a wonderful organization called SADAG. In fact, we'll provide the numbers at the end of this episode. There's SADAG, there's Lifeline, there's Family Line. The Department of Social Development also has a 24-hour hotline that people can call for support. So there are ways to get support for yourself as a person supporting someone with a mental health disorder or those actually struggling with mental health.
I like what you said there about listening with empathy, right? Just listening without judgment, because I think often we're quick to, there's so many resources. I'm glad you mentioned like the SADAG helpline, and that there's so many numbers and support systems that like people can call free of charge to get the support that we need. But I think it's also one of those things with mental health awareness becoming a bit of a tagline where we're quick to throw numbers at people when they say, yeah, I'm feeling a bit something, a bit depressed. I'm feeling like I've got a lot of anxiety. I'm feeling like I've got, all these emotions. We're quick to just throw some like helpline numbers at them, where sometimes what they were hoping for is a helpful ear.
Yes.
A sounding board, right? Yeah.
Very therapeutic. Very, very therapeutic. So just sitting with someone and listening is cathartic, which is therapeutic. Just really, and not bringing yourself into it.
Yeah.
And being attentive. You're not listening while doing something else. You're not on your phone. You're not cooking. You're not, doing your work. No, just really being present and just listening is very often good enough.
I think we've lost that art a little bit as well, of just sitting and looking at each other and having an open conversation. It can sometimes be uncomfortable just talking and not being distracted and doing something else. There's also some key things, right, to avoid that can be a bit unhelpful in a conversation about mental health that can be a little bit uncomfortable. So you can often hear, maybe when someone comes to you, the last thing that you want to hear from someone, when you're trying to open up your heart about these hard feelings and emotions that you're feeling, the last thing you want to hear from someone is something like, it's all in your head, or just cheer up, or or oh, you're being dramatic, or I think we need to be very careful of kind of finding better words and better vocabulary to make an open space for that.
I agree. Be careful, finding better words, and also be careful of wanting to fill up the space. I think it's our own anxiety that now we're scrambling. Okay, we want to solve.
Yes.
We want to, you see?
Yes.
Just take care of your own anxiety. Remember, in everything, identify what you are feeling.
You're self-aware queen.
Name it and manage it. So in that moment, a lot of times when a friend is sharing or anybody is sharing that type of news, you feel anxious, you feel worried, you feel scared for the person, you feel hurt, you feel disappointed. Maybe if you're a parent, you feel guilty if you're
sometimes.
A parent, was it me? Did I do something? So you have all these emotions that rush at you at one time, and you then start scrambling. It comes out, right? Because feelings will come out. It comes out. So in that conversation, check yourself. I'm feeling these things, acknowledge them, accept them, and then calm yourself. A lot of the time, just by acknowledging and accepting them, you'll be able to sit in it.
Go away, yeah.
And then you'll be able to be present, So calm yourself and just sit. Don't try fill the space. Just sit and hear the person out.
I think that's really important. And I think it'll be a skill that'll kind of come with practice. But I think if we figure it out, we're all going to be very self-aware queens, which will make us better humans and easier. It'll make it easier to relate with the people that we care for and love for so much, right?
Yeah. And you mentioned things not to say. So what can you say? Maybe
what do we say,
you can
right?
Say what you feel, that I am so sorry to hear this.
Yeah. I'm here for you.
Yeah. It hurts me that you're going through this, but I'm here. If you need to talk, if you need anything, I will do my best to support you. I'm here. And I will be here throughout the journey. That's enough. And then they do all the talking. That's enough. Don't try solve. Don't try put yourself, I also had experience. Just
right. Be like, we all feel this way. Yes.
Just keep it calm. Let them have, their time.
Okay, I'm going to run into our hotline for today's episode, right? It is from a mother. She says, my teenage daughter keeps saying she has anxiety, but she refuses to go to therapy or open up to me. What do I do? How do I support her without dismissing her?
I like what that mom is saying.
Without dismissing her, right? I felt the same.
So she's avoiding saying, it's just life, you'll get over it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I love that. She's already on the right track, right?
Also, the fact that she's seeking these answers as well is incredible.
Absolutely. And seeking them out while very aware of her own positionality and her daughter's positionality in all of this. So it's not her stuff, it's her daughter's. And how does she support? So because some parents, she could have easily said, my daughter has anxiety, but I don't know what to do. I don't think.
She's got food on the table. She's got clothes.
Exactly,
she has a roof over her head.
There's it.
Right.
She has no reason to have anxiety. Is she faking? Is this thing real? So I'm so happy to hear that she is already on the right track. And what I would suggest is maybe for her to get in touch with a professional. So if she's identified that her daughter's anxiety is impairing her functioning, so it's clinical, it's serious, it needs intervention, then I would suggest that she gets in touch with a professional and speak to a professional about how to approach it
with her daughter.
So to see that the daughter gets the help that she needs. Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good solution. Wishing you all the best, mommy.
Yeah.
I think my biggest takeaway from this episode is what you said about how to sort of reflect inwards and put a mirror on yourself, especially when you're realizing that there are these relationship dynamics that are difficult, that are challenging, that might feel toxic and traumatic and whatnot. But I'm taking away how important it is for us to also take a moment to step back, look at ourselves, look at that relationship. Why is it so tricky? Why is it so hard? How am I contributing to the difficult feelings I have towards this relationship? I think it can be a difficult thing to do, but it's something that I'm thinking about with some of my relationships that I think might be helpful, might be useful. Yeah, I want to learn about some of the things that I might not be conscious of, that might show up poorly and might frustrate me in relationships, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, as you're speaking, a thought came to mind, and maybe we should share it, about, more my generation, I suppose, of mothers whom, when they were growing up, were not exposed to all this terminology or even psychological disorders or even psychologists.
Like, it's now their teenage daughter that's saying, "Ma, I feel."
You see,
what OCD, don't, and she's like, "Girl, what is this?"
It's their teenage daughter, their niece, their neighbor, at the workplace, someone else. So all of a sudden now, everyone has depression. I've heard this. Everyone has anxiety. Everyone has depression. But everyone has ADHD.
But these things were always there.
Everyone is autistic. But these things were always there. And also our lifestyles are different. Right?
Oh, we've briefly spoken about this, you and I.
Yeah. So even as a human race, we are evolving.
Yeah.
Right? Our minds are evolving. Our bodies are evolving. For example, I think when we spoke about this, I did say to you that the baby that my body makes will be different to the baby my grandmother made. Because I'm a working woman. My diet is very different to my grandmother's diet.
You live in a city, a big city.
I live in a city with pollution. I drive a car. I don't work the fields and walk long distances. So just movement as well is very different. So, and the hormones also have changed. For example, a lot of working women have high cortisol levels, which when you're pregnant, it can get transferred to the baby in utero. So, and also just general stress, right?
Yeah. And you're saying that can all then contribute to some of the challenges we're seeing in mental health now.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
It does. It does. Not can. It does.
It does. Wow.
And also there's intergenerational transmission of trauma.
So that's a real thing as well. Oh, I love it.
It is a real
intergenerational trauma.
It is a real thing. We'll need to do an entire episode on that and break it down. It's very real. So it really, our times have changed. So the illnesses, hence, I mean, people seem to understand why we've got a lot more high cholesterol, hypertensive people, hypoglycemic people, diabetes, why we've got more cancer, etc. in society now. It's the same with psychological disorders. It's all our lifestyles. So hence, yes, there is a higher prevalence of psychological disorders, but also information. So we are researching a lot more. We have access to information. We don't need to have those big Britannica encyclopedias. We have access to information. So hence the information is being shared and known in society a lot more. So it's a balance of both those things that we're now seeing higher prevalence of mental health issues. So it's real. Your children are not making it up, moms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are very interesting times we live in, honestly. I'm now thinking of what my children are going to look like. I'm just going to force them to touch grass every day.
Yeah.
They must
exactly.
go hug a tree.
Point. Our children are no longer getting that grounding from the earth where they're running barefoot, running on grass, climbing trees. And it's so important to a child's psychological development as well. So now they're on screens, they're having all this information all the time. So all of that, it's lifestyles. Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot. No, truly, I mean it when I say we live in very, very interesting times. But I'm honestly still quite proud of how we're now more open to have these conversations on mental health. It's so, so important. I think while we're talking about it, I think still too many people are suffering in silence alone because they feel like they can't have this open dialogue. So we really want to encourage you to be brave enough to have these conversations. Be brave enough to reach out to your friends, reach out to your strong friends, guys. And also, like we said, we're going to leave the SADAG helpline over here on the screen or in the description box below as well. We've got you, mama. We've got you, daughter. Please leave any questions that you have on our WhatsApp hotline. We'll put the number on the screen as well. We want to hear from you. We want to learn from you. And yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, till next time.
Bye.